Good evening, everyone. Tonight is August 10th, 2022. It is 6:34 p.m., and I would like to call to order the Council meeting using the hybrid interactive technology format. So our first order of business will be the Pledge of Allegiance. Please join us if you care to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would someone please move to approve the consent agenda?
This is Janet. I move to approve consent agenda number 3 through 5 and 7.
This is Sue. I'll second.
It's moved and seconded. Any questions? If not, I'll call for a vote.
This is Shelley. Although I want to say that I have to abstain from motion for the approval of the 623. I was not there.
Thank you.
Okay. Sue, aye.
Janet, aye.
Rob, aye.
And Jesse, aye. Is there anyone who would like to speak at the public open forum?
Mr. Mayor and council members, we do have members of the public to speak at open public forum. And Ivan, if you would please come in from the other room in order to sit at the table to talk to the city council.
All right, Ivan, go ahead.
Coming in.
Good evening.
Hello, Ivan.
Hi.
Yep, and pull the microphone close to you so we can hear.
Yeah, I took my nephew with me just in case I'm gonna not understand, but I hope you're gonna understand my English.
Mr. Mayor, if we could get his full name, please, and address.
Name and address for the record, please.
Okay, my name is Ivan Kozukar,
Would you spell that, please?
Ivan,
Yep.
and Kozhokar.
Just like it sounds. All right, go ahead, Ivan.
The address is 14755 Lake Drive.
Okay.
Yes, I'm here to just ask the Siri if it's possible, because I know, and everybody knows, there is a moratorium for construction on Lake Drive.
Correct.
And I purchased this property to run the business dealership, and I was almost approved or pre-approved when Ben was working here in the city. So we was working with Vladimir and the survey stuff and site plan, and I got caught in the middle of the road, and I can't move on. So the reason why I purchased this property, it is because I have to move on with the dealership. So my dealership is on a corner of Main Street and Lake Drive. It is a KI Auto Body and Sales. So we are now month to month over there. So we have to leave. I have to leave from the end of September. So I would ask the city council if it's possible to do exception for this property to turn the house, which is there, to turn an office, and the city, if you can let me run the sale lot from this side. So if it's possible to do that, I would beg you, I will ask you to do that, because I invest all the money which I could, and I can move forward.
All right. Well, I don't think there'll be a decision made tonight,
Okay.
but we can discuss it a little bit. And 2 weeks will go by quickly, and perhaps we'll have a decision. So, Does everyone know where the property is located that we're talking about?
Which corner? Is it the north?
It is right across,
West?
it's right across the L&R dealership. It's right across.
Right across from Denny's on the
Okay, okay.
about.
Would
And
that be just south of Forest Lake Contracting then, sir?
It's a third property, yes.
yes.
Okay.
And so do you know you have to be out by September 30th? Do you have to leave your place
Yes, I would. I talked with the landlord there, so they're working with developer because the city of Lina they want to put apartment building over there. So they still working, and my question was to the landlord if it's possible to talk me with the next developer. Maybe they gonna leave me another couple months to stay there, and if the city of Columbus is going to let me to convert the house and an office and run the business from this property for another couple months. But I don't think they're going to leave me another year or so.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor and Council, if I might address the question, and we can provide a fuller response in the 2 weeks that you've described between meetings. The intent as the council prepared the moratorium was not on all uses in the district, and so what we need to do is clarify exactly what the gentleman is proposing to see if it's one of the uses that would be allowed during the moratorium. If you remember, there were specific concerns that the council had, specific planning objectives that the council wanted to meet during the moratorium, but not all uses are under the moratorium. And so what we'd like to do is meet with the proposed applicant, find out more about the proposed use, and see whether it is in fact covered by the moratorium or outside of the moratorium, if that makes sense. We would have an update to you at a council meeting probably in 2 weeks, but in the meantime, we can have conversations with the proposed applicant. And it sounds like you've already purchased the property, so you're also the owner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we was very close, but not in the end. So one more thing here is because the property where we are at right now, there a couple was like a month ago that somebody get in our property and cut like a 13 catalytic converters from my cars, which was almost ready for sale, and the reason what I would like to move over here because here is more safe is my property. I spoke already with the city about the fence to put a fence there to just keep my property safe and because I can't put fence because it's not mine and I would like to park here and have my cars over here and run the business here. So I will ask if you can do this. Will be very because I invest all the money there and I took the loan and I'm like in the middle of the road. So.
Mr. Mayor and Council, again, to set expectations, even if the use is not under a moratorium, there's a conditional use permit process that you have to go through. It requires an application, plans, it goes to the Planning Commission, and then it comes here to the council. So there's a number of steps between, even if you're not under the moratorium, getting authorized for any use on the property.
I understand.
So that might help you go back with your current landlord and let the landlord understand that it's at least 3 to 4 months process before there would be an approval.
No, even if it's 3 or 4 months, I will ask them. I'm not sure, but I will ask them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Huh? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to speak at public open forum? Hearing none, we'll move on. The first, down to number 9, Bob Behrens is here to give the Planning Commission report.
And Mr. Mayor and Council, I just wanted to notify you that I will be removing myself from this discussion and in motion,
Thank you.
this topic.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, City staff. My name is Bob Behrens with the Planning Commission. I would like to provide the City Council with an update on the most recent activities of the Planning Commission dated August 3rd, 2022. Other than the normal administrative duties at the last meeting, the Planning Commission specifically reviewed the following. The first item on the agenda was a public hearing and discussion related to St. Clair Lakes Planned Unit Development Conditional Use Permit Amendment. A public hearing was held to consider the request for the amendment and to reduce the setback from the garage layout to the curb from 30 feet to 25 feet for a 21-lot subdivision called St. Clair Lakes in a mixed-use medium-density district. The applicant, Mark Olson, representing Joshua Markham Builders, was present and testified at the meeting. The Planning Commission listened to the testimony and asked several questions related to the development to basically get an update as to where the development stood and to consider the setback requirement. After reviewing the facts, the findings of fact and recommendations of the city staff, the Planning Commission made a motion to recommend approval of the St. Clair Lakes PUD CUP amendment to the City Council. The next item agenda that we had was a discussion related to park construction conditional use permit. At this time, the Planning Commission reviewed a request for a conditional use permit to allow for a contractor shop consisting of an office, mechanical shop, equipment storage, material storage, and crushing activity in the commercial industrial district, vacant properties, PIN number 33-32-22-23-0004 in the Waldock Addition on Lake Drive. The Planning Commission listened to the testimony from Park Construction, and after several questions and discussion and reviewing of the findings of fact and recommendation of the city staff, the Planning Commission made a motion to deny the request for a conditional use permit. The Planning Commission cited many underlying factors for denying this request. Primarily, we felt the proposal and operations of the project did not meet the criteria for the city's zoning ordinances. And we also felt the project is not aligned with the city's comprehensive plan to allow for harmonious and transitional existence with the surrounding community. The Planning Commission also had several questions related to safety of the site and also nuisances, namely noise, silica dust, traffic, visual aesthetics of rock piles and mounds, and other items such as that. So with this said, we propose to the City Council to deny the CUP for park construction. And that is the last of my update. Are there any questions?
Do we have questions, anyone? Or more discussion? I have 2 points I'd like to make. First of all, everybody, this is only the application for the park CUP, not for the whole. The Waldock Addition is already passed, and this does not regard that. It's just the CUP for park. And also, we will not take new testimony from anybody tonight because we were all at the meetings, the last meeting, and we've listened to it all. And to keep things moving along, we will just go with our notes and with the new things that came in our packets tonight, or last week. So, what were your big concerns, Bob? Or what were some of the largest concerns?
Primarily, when we review the city zoning ordinances related to the commercial industrial district for that area, we felt like it did not meet the criteria for being a transitional piece to the existing residents in the area and the surrounding neighbors. We didn't feel like it was a cohesive fit under the criteria that we set under our comprehensive plan, which calls for harmonious and transitional usage of the commercial industrial usage for that area. In addition to that, we just felt like the nuisances that would be created through this process, through this project, would be overwhelming to the community around the proposed project. And when you look at all of the nuisance potential, it just felt to the city planning commission that it was too much for the area. And so the fact that it didn't meet the criteria for the zoning ordinances, plus the harmonious and the transitional usage laid out into the comprehensive plan, plus the nuisance factors, all played a fact in our decision. And so that's what we are proposing to you today, is to deny the CUP based on that criteria.
All right, thank you. Shelley, do you have anything to discuss?
Yes, I do. I wrote my comments down, so I will be reading them, and then you can make comment later. I feel like you want to muzzle that person down on the end that has an unusual point of view, but I feel that I need to make these comments. I guess my remarks should start at the Waldocks proposal for a plat of 7 parcels within an industrial park. With Waldocks being respected business owners and long-standing leaders in our community, this proposal was favorably received. My trust level in their ability to provide improvements to our community was high due to the professional look and business conduct of their past businesses along Lake Drive. The first proposed buyer of one of the parcels was Street Smart Rental. This was the type of business I expected in our anticipated business park, exhibiting minimal disruption to the nearby residential neighborhood and falling into my definition of a transitional use. This business was welcomed with a minimum of compromise. The second prospective buyer was Equipment Transport, offering storing and maintenance of large trucks and construction equipment. I approved the concept that was stated with trepidation, as I realized it would add more heavy truck traffic to Lake Drive. My true concern was heightened when the representative from Equipment Transport claimed that their business had a relationship with Semstone and Pine Aggregate, and that their physical proximity would enhance and therefore possibly increase truck traffic on Lake Drive. I began to see a disturbing pattern where hauling and heavy industrial activities were becoming a major draw to Columbus by future heavy industrial businesses. This level of use was not indicated by the Waldocks' initial proposal of 7 parcels. The nature of the industrial park was beginning to morph. I often use this, people have come to the meetings, and I talk about that we are presented with something and all of a sudden it starts to change around the edges. We are now presented a request to accept into our community a company that claims to offer tax dollars, jobs, and a desire to improve our community. Park Construction presented a large and all-encompassing presentation to our Planning Commission. I can speak firsthand of what transpired since I attend all Planning Commission meetings and am familiar with their supporting documents. Mr. Carlson came prepared with an attorney, his realtor, and a set of answers to perceived problems with their business in Columbus. We were informed that noise would be measured by decibels and not by nuisance factor. The most egregious noise of the crusher would be mitigated by residents having their windows shut in the winter. Personally, I find this dismissive, if not insensitive to the people who live here. Additional noise by backup alarms and tailgate slamming were to be controlled by signs on the property and employee instruction. Columbus has already experienced the lack of success with these mitigating measures with Zukowski Trucking and Pine Aggregate, especially with the use of independent truckers. We were apprised of the danger of dust, specifically silica dust, and the mitigation efforts that were suggested were largely protecting the workers, which, although admirable, did not speak to the residents in the area. Discretionary watering, although promised, was not formally regulated. Although the street dust was addressed, the dust from the piles of cement and asphalt and the daily adding to those piles were not. Testimony by a Columbus resident was made that additions to the piles were not watered at the current site of this business. When asked by the planning commissioners about increased and slow-moving truck traffic entering and leaving Lake Drive, they were told it would be handled like all other businesses along Lake Drive. This comparison to other businesses seemed to be a theme throughout the park narrative, displaying a lack of knowledge about the area, past problems, and concern for their actual effect on the community. I have personally talked to many members of our community at their homes and have instigated information gathering of how the people of Columbus view their community, and I assure you, increased truck traffic is of concern. Columbus has not been open to heavy industry by this council. Park construction lists heavy industry first on its promotional materials on the internet. Blaine, who recently rejected park construction, considered it to be a heavy industry. It is interesting to note that Blaine was notified of 4 weeks of crushing and a 15-foot pile of recycling material, while Columbus was offered 6 weeks of crushing and 25-foot piles of rubble. In addition, representatives for park construction indicated a desired increase of the in-house hauling truck fleet from 12 to 24, coupled with a desire to increase their building size, we can only assume, an increase in noise, dust, and traffic. Ron Hanegraaff, head of the Planning Commission, noted the inconsistency in the numbers provided in the application and subsequent packets on several items that would impact the surrounding community. Commissioner Hanegraaff also indicated that there was confusion as to the nature of the business being recycling or truck maintenance and storage. These inconsistencies bespoke of possible prevarication of intent and scope of the business. I would like to address Mr. Carlson of Park Construction at this time. You came to us with the preconceived idea that we were to help you assimilate into our city with no regard for the existing community. Your comments on the length of time afforded the citizens of the public hearing in their only time to be heard was insensitive. The decisions we make here will affect their lives in Columbus forever. Their comments reflect many of the feelings of our general population. The time afforded to the citizens affected is a minuscule fraction of the time spent on your behalf by the staff and each and every member of the Planning Commission and the City Council in reading and researching your application and supporting packet. And I brought it as Exhibit A. Your stated desire, or your schooling of our city officials was presumptuous, and your comment regarding the Planning Commission as having, I quote, utterly failed in their duties is insulting and it's slanderous. Your stated desire to improve and work with the City of Columbus rings hollow. Your promise of jobs held by others already in the job market and where applicants are few brings little to the table. Your purchase of 26 acres of commercial industrial property, where the majority will be used for outside storage, makes your boast of taxes to be paid ludicrous in light of the actual cost to the city to referee disputes between your company and the residential neighbors in perpetuity. Would like to address to the Waldocks. We've been neighbors, and I hope we both want what's best for Columbus. Upon meeting John Waldock a few years ago, I exclaimed to him it was like meeting local royalty to our little city because of their respected name. That the proposed 7-parcel business park has devolved into a large, heavy industrial site is a disappointment for me. My respect for your past contributions and success in Columbus make me believe that there is a way to improve Columbus and still be profitable to you and your family. Concept meetings with greater detail may have improved both of our futures. I feel it would tarnish the Waldock legacy to saddle the community with a heavy industrial business. I have a few remaining words for Mr. Kepler, who I don't see in attendance, but is the attorney for Parks Construction. And in the interest of keeping these remarks on record, I would like to speak to him. You're labeling Columbus, not just Lake Drive, as a truck corridor and encouragement of clustering heavy industry here does not speak to your understanding of our ordinances or comprehensive plan. Just as Blaine does not wish to be a repository of rejected businesses, we do not wish to be branded and sought after as the trucking epicenter to meet the needs of the Twin Cities. We house a cement company, an aggregate company, and an asphalt company. and I feel Columbus is already more than paying the price for being a fringe city to a major metropolitan area. Our steadfast support of a rural feel with 5-acre limit lots is a testament to what we wish to promote as a community. In conclusion, based on my aforementioned comments and the staff recommendations by Dean Johnson, City Planner, I would reject the park construction cup request on the basis of findings of fact 63 through 68, being the opinions of the Columbus Planning Commissioners. Item 68, crushing and backhauling. Item 70, pre-existing non-conforming status of current businesses. Item 77, failure to meet harmony standard. Item 80, ongoing cost to the city. And 83, failure to meet transitional status, with 85 and 86 damaging the rural nature of Columbus. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. Janet?
Thank you. That's a tough act to follow, Shelley. I have also spent many hours thinking about this. I had the opportunity to meet with Mr. Jeff Carlson last Friday, which I enjoyed, getting to know more about his company. What I learned was that he has great pride in what he does. 4 generations of family that have run that business. And I also heard his frustration in trying to find a community that would allow him to continue to do what he does, which is a necessary service. And I walked away with greater empathy for his situation. I also had a chance to speak with Mr. Don Waldock over the weekend by telephone, and I enjoyed that conversation as well. And as Shelley said, I was very excited about the development that he and his family was bringing to Columbus and the potential businesses that it might attract. And I know that he is frustrated as well with, I think, the reception that Park has had. And as Shelley said, I would hope that he continues to work with us to share ideas, do concept reviews, because I think that that's the way to avoid some of the frustration that has been generated with this current application. I've also attended the public hearings and the Planning Commission meetings, so what I heard and saw was firsthand in both of those situations. So I walked away with a greater empathy for all parties concerned, including the Planning Commission, who spent a lot of time and effort and actually does a very, very good job. And as a council member, I always appreciate the depth of their research and the resources that they bring to the table. We count heavily on their expertise and advice. And the staff, who also work really hard with applicants in a very, condensed period of time. So it's tough when you have a lot of people who want conflicting things. But when it comes to making a decision about this CUP application, I have to kind of stick to the rules. So I even went back and reviewed my chapters of the League of Minnesota Cities handbook to make sure I wasn't forgetting something that could help me when I considered this application, and I had not. So I will just say that I have to agree with the Planning Commission's recommendation, and I say that based on 2 primary facts. One is that we have to act on the application that's before us, and that application has 2 uses that are listed that are not permitted in this district, the crushing and the backhauling. And in my conversation with Mr. Carlson, was asked, can't you just let us do it on a trial basis? And to that I would say I have a real concern about allowing something that's prohibited. It opens up the door for precedent setting, and I'm very afraid to do that. And the second question I was asked is, well, can't you put some conditions in place to mitigate whatever the perceived nuisances would be. And to that, I would say that I don't believe you put conditions in place for prohibited activities. You put conditions in place for allowed activities. So I don't think that that's an option as well. Secondly, from a land use perspective, I just cannot reconcile placing a heavy industrial use next to a residentially zoned area. We have commercial uses in that district that are next to residential homes, but those homes are placed in commercially zoned areas, and those homes were, for the most part, purchased with the knowledge that those homes existed in a commercially zoned area. We took great care to define in the work we did in the Freeway District a transitional zone between our commercial area and our industrial area. We called that the general business area, and during that process we discussed what the definitions of certain terms should be in the CI district, one of which was a contractor shop. And during that discussion, and this took place in April of 2021, we said that a contractor shop should be limited to small building trades. And then we came up with another definition for larger businesses that sometimes fit under the contractor shop heading for that zone. And this was discussion that we had with the intention of putting in place when we did the Lake Drive rezoning application. So we've been thinking about this for a long time, and I say that because I don't want the impression that the idea of the moratorium was brought up by one party. It was not. This moratorium has been discussed by this council for months and months, probably more than a year. There were certain priorities that we had to do because our comp plan came back from the Met Council with questions. Then we had a time frame attached to that, and it all had to do with the Freeway District, and we had to get that work done first. And that work took us a long time, almost 2 years. So it isn't that we didn't think it was important, and it wasn't that we hadn't thought about it until just now. It's just that you have to do things in the order that you have priorities set, and you have to do as much as you can with the resources that you have. So in saying all of that, I guess I could not come up with conditions that would mitigate the nuisances that would be created even without the crushing and the backhauling. At least with the information that was presented to us. And so for those reasons, I will also agree with the recommendation of the Planning Commission in denying this permit.
Thank you, Janet. Rob Bush, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So definitely was happy about the Waldock development and that coming in to bring more taxes and development within the community. It's been along a farm field. It's been a place for heydays where we used to have a lot of noise come from that, and they've since been pushed out to a bigger area where they can make noise and not have to affect the residents around. With that being said, while I was out campaigning 2 years ago, talking to a lot of residents, and they're very upset with the heavy industrial, the trucks running up and down Potomac, Highway 23, near misses, things like that. I know we had a previous applicant come in. I don't even believe it was an applicant. It was a concept plan. I believe it was equipment transport. And I was semi in favor of them coming based on the fact that they weren't bringing a ton of things. They were planning on storing some trailers, doing their work inside. they weren't going to have a huge impact. They'd be running their low boys out of there at night, things like that. So I was semi for that at the time. Moving forward, we have this application for, concrete crushing, backhauling. To me, the city saw when bituminous roadways came, that's come and gone, that's in the past, but it was a big uprise. And I feel like this same thing has happened, maybe not quite to the huge magnitude or volume that one was. But the residents are not happy about it. They don't feel, the residents do not feel that it's harmonious. They don't feel like it should be next to a residential area. And so I would like to help out on this, but I do have to side with the planning commission and vote to deny this application. So.
Thank you. So this has been a very, very intense and rather unpleasant experience for us. We've all known everybody forever. We all welcome good development. We don't like to turn anybody away. But with everything that we have heard from the Planning Commission and our engineers and our planners, and everything that all three of you have so well documented or formulated and put together, I will agree with you to cast a no vote, which is terrible. And I'm sorry, I don't like to disappoint anyone, but I really feel that this isn't appropriate in this location. So I think I will call for a formal roll call vote. And would someone like to make the motion?
I can make the motion. So I would move to direct the city attorney to draft resolution of denial based on the findings of fact in the staff planning report, the city council discussion, and recommendations of the planning commission.
I'll call for the vote.
We need a second.
Oh, seconded.
This is Shelley, I'll second that.
Now I'll call for the vote.
Shelley, aye.
Janet, aye.
Rob, aye.
Jesse, aye. All right.
Mr. Mayor and Council, just for the people listening, that resolution of denial will come back for action at the next city council meeting.
So 2 weeks from tonight.
Correct.
Thank you. All right. Yes.
Can I make a comment now?
Counselor?
Mr. Mayor, you set the direction at the outset of the item that you were not taking testimony. So it's up to the mayor and council whether and if you'll take testimony either now or at a subsequent.
But we can take it at the next one.
Yes, you can.
Correct? Can we wait till the next one? Thank you, John. Bob, anything else from the Planning Commission to us?
No, just the other item that I discussed was the amendment to the St. Clair.
Oh, yeah, but we had a special meeting on Thursday night, the council did, and passed the amendment.
Very good. Thanks for your time.
Yep, thank you. Engineer report.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. Kevin Bittner, City Engineer. I don't have a whole lot to report, just a couple of quick updates. Kettle River Heights, the bituminous workhorse went on this week with...
Kevin, would you pull your mic up a little closer? Thank you.
Kettle River Heights bituminous workhorse was paved this week, except for a short stretch that they have to come back and complete. After that, there's just some shouldering to do, and that project would be essentially complete. St. Clair Lakes, the development project, again, all of the public improvements are completed, but just a quick update that they did get the first lift of bituminous pavement on that road, so that one is progressing. And West Freeway Drive, last meeting you approved the survey for the rare species, the butternut trees. That survey is ongoing this week. And that's my project update. In terms of the next item on my list, we did receive a request from Mr. Mark Olson of Joshua Markham Builders, again, the builder in the St. Clair Lakes development. He has requested a reduction in his letter of credit. He has submitted invoices pertaining to the project that justify his reduction. And so I'm recommending approval of that reduction in the amount of $295,842.87.
All right, I'll make the motion to approve St. Clair Lakes line of credit reduction of $295,842.87 from $490,102.09 to a new line of credit amount of $194,259.22. Is there a second?
This is Sue, I'll second.
Is there any questions or more discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Shelley, aye.
Sue, aye.
Janet, I.
Rob,
Did we lose him?
hit your unmute.
He's there.
I see his name. Hello, Rob.
You can indicate in the minutes that he's temporarily left the meeting and let the motion pass.
And I'll vote aye, so the motion passed. Anything else, Kevin?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Attorney report number 11.
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor and city council members report.
I have nothing.
I filled in for Rob at the fire board meeting, Forest Lake Fire Department. Never been there, have no idea what the fire department is like. It was a good learning experience. It's a wonderful place. They have, and as Janet mentioned before, like, I don't even know if they have full-time firemen or part-time.
Chief.
So
think he's
only
the
the
only
chief
full-time.
is full-time, and they do on-demand, whatever the POD is.
Paid on demand.
Yep. So we looked at the budget, and I'm sure Elizabeth is going to cover more of that, but they do need a new Rosenbauer pumper truck. And did you know they're $863,000, and they take about 600 days
Yeah.
lead time to order and receive that. The other thing that he did cover is his intention or his vision to increase wages for the volunteer firefighters, which everybody's going to take a look at and see how they can budget it. But I thought he was very forward-thinking in his reasoning why he would like to do that, because it was kind of, drastic. I'm not going to say what it is because that might change, but his reasoning for it was right, I thought, and he runs a pretty tight ship over there. They do all the training and everything that's needed, so I'll just say it was a really good experience for me to learn about the fire department. I did not get to sit in a fire truck, but it was really a great experience, so.
And I'll add on to that, he also said everybody, anyone or everyone is welcome to come to any fire board meeting. He said nobody ever comes except two people from the mayor and another council member from here, and the mayor from Forest Lake and a council member.
Yep.
He said anybody can come any day or any meeting, and he'd be happy to. It's a lot to learn. It's amazing.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor and council members, I did talk to Al Newman, and he is going to make a more formal presentation during our workshop on the 31st. So everyone will get a chance and an opportunity to look at his vision and then go over the fire budget along with the capital improvement plan for the future equipment. As Sue indicated, the fire equipment is getting very expensive over time, and you do have to order it well in advance in order to get your equipment.
Jenna?
I have two things. One is that Mayor Priner and myself attended the Night to Unite event that was last week.
Tuesday.
Last Tuesday. There were two residences in Columbus that hosted a Night to Unite event. They both had hosted one last year as well. One was over on Teachers Row on Bender Street, and that was Lisa and Brent, and I'm going to massacre their last name, Schleifer, I can't pronounce it, Schleieff. And the other one was Markham's over at Thornbeck Preserves.
Preserve.
And I'll tell you, it was really, both of them were very well attended. Our Anoka County Sheriff Department was there. Actually, a number of them were there. Jessica Slovak was there, along with a couple of the other deputies, and the kids were like gaga over all the equipment and stuff in those sheriff cars. And they had a fire truck there, and the folks over on Bender Street did a little parade of ATVs and lawn tractors that were all decorated up, which I took a video of, and hopefully, Connor, I have pictures and video for you to put on and I have the permission of Lisa to do it, so that'll be coming your way soon. So anyways, it was a great fun and well attended, and I really enjoyed the night. Second thing quick is we do have dates for the meetings that will be held to update our JPA for Sunrise. I'm meeting tomorrow with the consultant and Jamie Sherban just to go over the plans for it, but the first meeting is on October 4th, and the second meeting is on December 6th, and hopefully we won't need the second meeting. So this will be a meeting of the cities who are party to the JPA. They will be meeting here in our community center. I can't remember the time, 6? I think it was 6.
I think it was
6 to 8, both times. I'm sure it'll be posted. And you are all more than welcome to come if you'd like to. I'm sure Shelley would like to. She misses going to those meetings. That's my report.
Rob, are you back yet?
Yeah, I'm back. I got a internet issue there. I understand I still need to probably vote on the St. Clair Lakes deal. Is that correct?
Bill, what do we do?
It's not
Yeah,
necessary.
can you reread the motion?
Sure, I mean, it's fine if you want to take the vote again.
The motion,
If it went whatever way, that's fine.
It's not necessary. We indicated that you were temporarily not in the meeting.
Okay, all right, thank you. I do not have a report. Just thank you, Sue, for filling in at the fire board. I'm happy you enjoyed it. Question for both you and the mayor, though. Mayor, was the pumper, we previously talked about that a meeting or two ago, is that correct? That was just kind of continual conversation.
yes, I believe so. It's like 40 years old or something.
They were eager to get it locked in as the price was rising drastically, correct?
Correct,
Is
yep.
that the one? Okay. Nope, I just wanted clarification on that, and that's all I got. Thank you.
All right. I have nothing to add, so we'll do Public Works report. Jim?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. I have a question about Al Newman and Gander Outdoors. I had talked to him after our last meeting. He was supposed to send out an email. I do not know if he did it because he didn't copy me on it if he did, so I guess I'm looking to see if you guys got an email on an update for that. Then I will touch base with him again tomorrow. My other question is, do you want to go over this Kramer stuff now, or do you want to do it during yours?
Nope.
Okay.
Take-
I just wasn't sure because it's all part of the American Rescue thing. So during the last round of equipment replacements and stuff. We did not do all of the furnaces and air conditioners in City Hall. We did basically the areas that we congregate in for meetings and things like that. There are 2 more furnaces that operate that at the City Hall or city offices side. Those are, to the best of my knowledge, original furnaces over there. There is also 1 AC unit over there. So just I don't even know what's original and what's not original, but just the main office area has AC in it. And from the restrooms towards the north does not have any air conditioning in there, so that gets extremely warm in there. So Elizabeth and I were talking that we should replace those furnaces and add 1 AC unit plus add an AC unit. So that's kind of what these bids are for. The one other caveat to that is because we've kind of changed the office space around and we put up the plexiglass and kind of blocked some of the airflow in there, that we need to add some venting. So to replace 2 furnaces and 2 AC units and add more ventilation, I believe if I added all those together, right, it's just slightly over $12,000. So we're kind of looking to move forward with that. And I will definitely field any questions if you have any.
Well, my question was, the American Rescue Plan dollars,
Yes.
there was a certain amount that you had used from the last time. Are these dollars from the original dollars, or is it the new plan? Because I thought you'd used all of the amount that you had. So is this above and beyond?
So we used the initial. Now this is they've got so many different names now, I don't remember them all. I believe it's the American Rescue Care Act.
Yes.
Is a new plan, and we have funds from that plan that we were going to use.
Okay.
For this.
So this is a new set of funding that we
Correct.
can use. Okay.
So this is the funding that we've talked about before, that we are going to buy a generator with, do well
Yep.
rehabs, some internet work, and then Elizabeth had some stuff. So my well project came in considerably under budget, so that, frees up some extra money, and, we're just kind of working within the funds that we still have to use.
The larger part of the funds is doing the broadband projects.
So Elizabeth, this is just the second year of funding. It's not new funding, correct?
This is not new funding. This is funding that we've already been allotted to. We have a resolution indicating that there are 3 different areas that we are allocating dollars to. This new project, we will have to amend that resolution to include that project. It does meet the criteria because we need to upgrade the airflow and putting it through the filter that's already on the furnace. We need to upgrade that in order to circulate throughout the entire area for all of our employees. So it does, I did check with our attorney, and it does meet all the criteria for the ARPA dollars.
All right.
I have a question, but it's just a curiosity question. So is there ductwork in there or do you have to put in ductwork to be able to get to all those hinterland offices?
So we kind of have a hodgepodge
Of course.
things in there, right?
Yeah.
We have what they call transient heat, which is like the vents that go along the floor. So those are in ground. So they use a downdraft furnace, which blows the air through the ground. We need to add extra venting because we're not going to hammer out all the concrete to get into that center portion of the office. So that new venting will go overhead. And ultimately, not every office space has the appropriate air returns and/or ventilation coming in. So that's the reason that we're doing the $1,115 extra ventilation, because then we can run pipes overhead to try to get the proper airflow everywhere at this point now.
And is the problem with the offices on the north end just with cooling, not with heating, or is it also really cold in the wintertime?
I do not believe, well, it's never too cold for me. So
I don't believe anybody whines about the temperature in the wintertime, but in the summertime, it's extremely hot back there. It's not uncommon that it can be 80 degrees back there, which is pretty warm. So,
Okay, thank you. I just was
Yep.
curious.
All right. I will,
How did we come up with Kramer? Was there a bid or bidding thing, or?
I've talked to a few people, and so finding furnaces and AC units are extremely hard, just like everything else. So I use Kramer a fair amount, but I also, call other people as well. And they were the only people that were willing to give me a bid at this point. So that's the inherent hard part about today.
I actually was going to compliment you on this because early this summer, I replaced part of my air conditioning. It cost me $20,000 for a two-bedroom home. So I think this is pretty reasonable. And a lot of the stuff that you're having done, I had to have done with ducting and that.
Right. So, you work with different people around, and you find people that treat you very fairly. We've done work with different vendors, and, some people are really high. And most people that I find that are local companies treat us very well. And, I try to use them as much as I can because they definitely do right by us.
Mr. Mayor and Council, just to clarify, at this level of expenditure, the requirement is to make the calls to try and solicit multiple bids. Jim did that, was only able to get one bid, and the bid appears to be reasonable. So the requirements of the law have been met.
all right, everyone, I'll make the motion to direct the city attorney to amend the ARPA resolution to include the city administration furnace, air conditioning unit, and AC ducts upgrade, as the current system is keeping a
It's
as
not-
the current system is keeping a consistent airflow return rate and temperature throughout the office for all employees. Is there a second?
This is Sue, I'll second.
Any other questions or discussions?
Mr. Mayor, there needs to be a not in there.
Oops, where at?
It's not keeping a consistent airflow. Thank you.
And the current system is not, keeping a consistent airflow return rate and temperature throughout the office for all employees. Now, is there a second?
This is Sue, I'll second.
All right, I'll call for the vote.
Shelley, aye.
Sue, aye.
Janet, I.
Rob, aye.
Jesse, aye.
See, I did have a quick question under discussion though.
Sorry, go ahead.
Through the mayor to Jim, or Mr. Winning said, is there gonna be any construction in relation to it? Or are we gonna have to be tearing out ceilings to get that ductwork through? Or is that pretty much just move ceiling tiles and they're gonna be able to tie in?
It's all ceiling tiles, so it's very easy for them to just move the ceiling tiles out of the way and run the ductwork that way.
Perfect. That was all I was wondering. Thank you.
All right. So now we're going to close this meeting, correct? After I read the announcements?
I have a
After
question.
announcements.
Do you need a motion to approve the bid? We did a motion for the resolution, but do you need a motion for the bid?
That will be in the resolution, so it'll come back to you in 2 weeks.
Okay.
All right. All right, so then we will read the announcements. The city council workshop is
Tomorrow.
on the 11th at 5:30. Planning commission meetings are on the 17th at 6:30. City council at 8:24 at 6:30. City council budget meeting at 6 on the 31st. Calendar's on the back. So now we will close this meeting and move into a closed meeting under Minnesota statute section 13D-05 subdivision 3C3 to develop or consider offers or counteroffers for the purchase or sale of real or personal property. So this meeting is adjourned.
And I would say, Mr. Mayor, just for clarification on the record, it's written there in the minutes, this is for West Freeway Drive for right-of-way.
Okay, for the West Freeway Drive North right-of-way.